with Jay Anderson from Cageside Press.
Thanks very much. And Ben, first of all, welcome back. I mean, what has this fight week, such as it is, been like? Is it a little bit odd to be fighting on a Wednesday here?
A little bit, but kind of make the adjustments. I had a couple week notice to start making the adjustments, and Wednesday becomes a new Saturday.
Looking at this fight, were you a little bit surprised to see the name OSP, who is best known as a light heavyweight?
I wasn't surprised about light heavyweights moving up because I was already scheduled to fight a former light heavyweight moving up, and you're seeing more of that. Uh, but OSP, the name just kind of came out of nowhere because I had two fights set up. I had signed a contract to fight a heavyweight. And then they, like within a week or so, they said because of circumstances he was out, and they dropped this name, and it was just like the name kind of came out. I guess any name they threw me was going to be a surprise, but the fact of seeing him move up with the circumstances, I'm sure the weight cut, um, he's a big guy. I think he walks around. A lot of light heavyweights are naturally heavyweights, so uh, it is what it is. It's a for me it's a better name. Um, my first opponent, we were like on the undercard, and now OSP comes in on co-main event, so it's good things to it too.
And you mentioned the circumstances, obviously a lot going on in the world. I know in your case you had to, at least temporarily, close your gym. What's the toll been like on you personally? And then in terms of a fight camp, I mean, how has that gone? Have you been able to get done what you wanted to get done?
The gym, it's been hard. All of our members have been like, oh, we can't wait to open again, and it's been tough in Wisconsin. Uh, it's going all around the country. Everybody's dealing with it. For me personally, the fact I own a gym, I think gives me an advantage. I know some fighters have said that they can't train for a fight because their coach won't open a gym. Yeah, I step back and go, really happy I own my own gym because I get to call the shots. All my training partners, a lot of things that we do are, you know, under the 10 people limit anyway. So we were able to get together and kind of keep things as normal as we could. I think going out and grocery shopping and eating and that kind of thing, that was probably the biggest change. We had to make strategic changes and when we would go shop and keeping our eating the same. Uh, to say things are normal would be crazy. Obviously, we've had to make changes, but I'm blessed that I was able to keep things in a good situation for myself. My personal training. Uh, I own a gym at my house as well, so I was able to keep my strength and conditioning um, pretty much the same. So at the same time, I got a lot of blessings, a lot of things to be thankful for.
Last one for me. I mean, was there any hesitation coming back? I mean, given the pandemic, or is this kind of a welcome distraction where you've got something to focus on now?
It's been a roller coaster, because of what's going on around the world and how it's going to handle. But hats off to the UFC. They're just doing an outstanding job of keeping everybody safe and making this thing, safe for everybody, and they're doing the best they can. Obviously, things can happen that is out of anybody's control, but right now it's a good situation, and I'm definitely happy to be fighting. Especially us older guys, it's a big deal. Time is against us, and so to get these opportunities, it's huge. So yeah, it's a welcomed everything right now. Welcome experience.
Thanks very much, Ben. Best of luck.
Thank you.
And we'll have the next question from Damon Martin. Go ahead, Damon.
Hey Ben, obviously throughout your career you've had a lot of different wins, a lot of different ways, but obviously you've kind of made famous with your submission to go choke. I'm curious, going into a fight against OSP, what do you think of his Von Flu choke, or as we now call it, the Von Preux choke?
Well, it's effective. If he locks it up, it's like a lot of submissions. If they're locked up, they're going to be in trouble. Uh, but I like to believe that there's a way out of everything, and um, it'll be a welcome challenge. We'll see. He's got to do a lot of work to get to there. I'll tell you that. And he's got to go through a lot of things to get to that position. And we'll see what happens overall.
Obviously, you have a lot of knockouts on your record. You're coming off a big knockout in your last fight. But do you, again, you can't play how the fight's going to play out exactly, but do you look forward if it does get in those grappling exchanges? I mean, I think you're one of those guys who's always been underrated with your grappling, but when you go out and do what you did to Josh Barnett and things like that, like you kind of prove you have that grappling. Like, is it fun to test that part of your game when everyone kind of rates you always as a knockout guy?
If the opportunities come, it's great to show it. As you can see, the heavyweight division's been very stand-up heavy. And I think there is some changes that need to happen because I think I have some weapons that are very effective, especially in this heavyweight division right now, that haven't been showcased. So if the opponent wants to push it for that, yeah, I'm very open for it. But again, I'm an opportunist, so it's got to kind of see what presents itself.
You're a veteran, Ben. You've been around the sport for a long time. You fought everybody. At this stage of your career, coming off a win over Stephen Struve, going for 2 in a row here with OSP, what are the goals at this stage of your career? Is it having fun fights? Is it still the title? Like, what goals are in your mind right now?
Goal is honestly to just continue to try to get in the best shape that I can and be the best martial artist that I can. And it's every fight, every step, take each fight one step at a time. Try not to look too far ahead, because that doesn't seem to work out well. It's about focusing on the here and now, and with my body, lots of room for improvement, and that's what I'm really working on right now. I had some time off, obviously, and that you can see can affect fighters. It affected me, but I think you can see from my first fight back in the beginning of March last year to now, I think you can see a steady progression. I keep getting better. I keep making improvements, and that's what keeps me excited and keeps me in this.
My last question, Ben. A few years ago, one of the fights you didn't get to have, it got canceled, was the fight with Stipe Miocic. I know that's one you've always said you would have loved to have had or get back at some point. And I know you're not necessarily knocking on the door of title contention right now. Obviously, you've been there before. But what do you make of the state of the heavyweight division right now, where we have the champion is out, and there's a lot of discussion about what's going to happen with him? You got Daniel Cormier, now you have Francis Ngannou over the weekend getting a big win. I just want to get your kind of the lay of the land, because it is kind of a weird time for the division.
So first, you asked about Stipe. So whether he has a title or not, it would just be a great fight. It's a great challenge. He's right now, probably looked at as the gonna head into the Hall of Fame, one of the best heavyweights of all time. So it's a great challenge, and he brings a lot of different things. I think I would get to show a lot of different skills in that fight as well. But he's really high ranked, and I'm gonna have to do a lot of work right now to get up to that. Francis Ngannou, I think, clearly showed he's got the next title fight. I don't think anybody's disputing that, and it's a matter of this circumstance. As I said, guys saying they can't train right now for a fight. I don't know about that. It is what it is. As you can see, it sounds like Dana White is not having it, or he's going to push the division forward one way or another. And you got Daniel Cormier in here for one last fight. Great fighter, and it's going to be a great fight. But what does that do to the division if he wins? Then it's just back to giving it to another title fight of some sort. I don't know. It's kind of a mess with that. So Daniel's got one more fight. He does the fight and moves on. It's basically got Stipe and Francis at the top, and I see a lot of guys on their way up though. So I think things can get exciting once we kind of get past this situation with the three of those. I think the division will start moving.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
And up next, we'll have some questions from Matt Tucker. Matt, we have time for a couple quick questions. Matt Tucker, you are unmuted. We're going to move on to Jordan Wahlberger from The Horn.
Ben, thanks so much for the time today. How did the change of opponents affect the training camp? What do you think that OSP brings that maybe John Vellante didn't?
There's they're both light heavyweights moving up. There's actually an opponent nobody knows about in the middle that's bigger than both of them. So that was actually the change in the training camp. Luckily, I have a huge training partner. He's bigger than me, so he kind of helped fill in that gap. And then the opponent switched again, and I went back to all my other training partners, kind of focused on them because then the size went down some. There's not too much. The game plan is always the same against every opponent. Obviously, I have to work defenses. Different guys bring different things. OSP, I think, brings a little more. He wants to bring it down to the ground and has jiu-jitsu on the ground. Well, I think Volante would have been happy keeping it on the feet, and his takedowns would have been simply to get a rest or to get me tired. So there's a little bit of difference, but not too much. It's kind of always the same thing.
Thank you. You mentioned that that the good part about owning a gym and you've been able to find training partners, but what have been the challenges, right, of this training camp? Obviously, the fight getting moved back a few weeks and everything else.
Yeah, just being at home, the quarantining isn't too bad. I think it helps a lot of fighters. It keeps us grounded. You're not out doing stuff maybe you shouldn't be doing. And during a training camp, I've been a lot better about that as I've gotten older. But it's just kind of the, all going on. You don't want to get sick. I got this fight in X amount of days or X amount of weeks. So I started quarantining literally when Trump banned all European travel. I started my quarantine then because I thought I was going to fight April 18th. So for me, it was not wanting to get sick, and not wanting to get sick somewhere in there and have it affect the camp or not be able to fight at all. And that's been the biggest thing is just trying to be really safe, watch everything you're doing on top of all the stuff that we have to deal with in training camp, not getting injured and doing all the stuff you need to do. Now we have this one extra thing of, wow, there's this ultra contagious virus out there that can get you sick. So that's avoiding that's been the main challenge.
All right. Hey, I appreciate the time and good luck on Wednesday.
Perfect. Thank you, Ben. That's all we had for you.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you, sir.